Whether you know him as Jack Dawson, Jay Gatsby, Jordan Belfort, or Dom Cobb, the man behind the mask, Leonardo DiCaprio, is bound to have touched your heart in at least one of his many roles. Get ready for an homage to the 2016 Academy Award-winning Best Actor, Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, I'm sure that you've heard of the name Leonardo DiCaprio in such films as The Titanic and even new ones as The Revenant. Guys, I'm sure that he's been in your life throughout when you've been born. What is one of your first memories of Leonardo DiCaprio?
I don't know, for me it's got to be Titanic.
Yeah.
Being able to finally see like the first R-rated movie I've ever seen in my life in the 90s, pretty legendary.
Everyone remembers their first.
For me, it's also Titanic. He was a really powerful role in that movie, and it's just like it was one of my first like major movies that I ever really saw. So
yeah.
It was nice that he was my first.
Pretty common one, I feel like a lot of people recognize Titanic. My first one was actually Crawlers 3, his first ever film debut. It was a horrible movie. Terrible. You're not going to want to go see it too much. It's about it's kind of like a knockoff of Gremlins. The only good part was it's Leo as a little kid. It's kind of fun. Well, hey, I'm sure that you've heard of some of these big ones. Let's get into our first movie that we're going to be talking about today. The first one that we're going to be talking about is What is Eating Gilbert Grape? Now, What's Eating Gilbert Grape starts off in the tiny town of Eudora, Iowa. Johnny Depp plays Gilbert Grape, a 24-year-old grocery clerk who desperately wants to escape from the dead-end Eudora countryside that he finds himself in. He would leave if it weren't for just two little things, the first being his mentally impaired little brother, Arnie. Now, Arnie is played by a young Leonardo DiCaprio. Arnie has a developmental disorder, and that causes him to get in quite a lot of mischief for Gilbert to deal with. Now, Arnie wouldn't be a problem if it weren't for his incredibly morbidly obese mother. With Mama Grape too heavy to stand up, Gilbert is left to take care of Arnie and his two sisters. Gilbert's personal life does not get any easier than his family life. Now, throw in an affair with a housewife and even a supermarket that's threatening to take away his job, Gilbert finds himself in a very interesting time in his life. Can Gilbert find enough time to straighten out his love affair? Before Arnie climbs to the top of the water tower again, is the floor going to break from under Mama's big, humongous, gigantuan behind? Looks like you're going to have to give the movie a watch to figure out, but I guess that we can give you a little bit of a trailer as a taste. Here's a trailer of What is Eating Gilbert Grape.
Eudora. It's a town where nothing much ever happens. This is where I live with my family. Doctor said we'd be lucky if Arnie lived to be 10.
I could go at any time.
Arnie, don't be rude. Some days you want him to live.
I kill him, Gilbert.
I know, buddy.
Okay, son, come down now.
Bye.
Some days you don't.
When is this gonna stop?
And then there's Mama.
That's my mom in there.
You see, with Mama, there's no nice way to break it to you.
She's not all that big, Gilbert. I saw a guy at the state fair who was a little bit bigger.
I haven't always been like this.
I haven't always been like this.
Gilbert, I'll need a delivery later.
If nothing ever happens here,
It's those lobsters, isn't it?
why does it always happen to me?
Sometimes I just want to stick her head in heaven and turn on the gas.
I got nowhere to go.
Gilbert, please don't disappear.
We're taking him in. We've warned you. We've warned your sister.
They say there's a reason for everything.
My son! Give me my son!
Maybe someday I'll figure out what it is.
Oh, look, it's a praying mantis. You know how they mate? The male will sneak up on the female, and she'll bite off his head, and the rest of his body will keep on mating, and then when they're done, she'll eat him.
So now I think after that trailer, it's pretty obvious to see what are some of the things that are eating Gilbert Grape. Now, in this movie, Arnie, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, is one of the most conflicting characters that I've ever witnessed. Now, there are some times that you're going to want to just give him a big hug and maybe some ice cream, but then at other times, you're going to kind of wish that his hand might have slipped from the water tower. He falls off, and up Gilbert's left to just go run off with that housewife move to life, finish out his life in the Bahamas. That is what I want to happen. But you know what? Arnie's still there keeping us having some fun. So now, if we look at some of the other parts of the movie, we see that Arnie and Gilbert have a pretty interesting life with their mother. She is very overweight because she kind of started binge eating after her husband kind of committed suicide. So he started to just kind of binge eat and got to the point where they are, so she can't even stand up. Now, if we go and continue to look, this film was Leonardo DiCaprio's second major role, and this is after he comes out of the gate with a movie that personally I think should have won him an Oscar right off the bat. DiCaprio did an outstanding job playing a mentally impaired person, and I think that is one of the most outstanding feats an actor can accomplish. There's so many different ways that they can offend people that he just did a really good job for it. So I just think that goes off to show a lot about who Leonardo DiCaprio is as an actor, and I think that is just hats off. I also really love the movie because it is just a really, really good starter for Leonardo DiCaprio's role. How do you guys feel about the movie?
Well, I think it was a really, really good film, like in such an early role, like you said, with him being so young, that I think it shows how good he was to start and that he was always a natural talent. And it's just really impressive, like you said.
Yeah. What you?
I have to agree with you on playing the mentally impaired person, because there's something that is really different about playing a mentally impaired person, because you have to not only play it believably, but you also have to create somewhat of the tragedy of a mentally impaired person.
Exactly. And it's kind of nice to show that he did in such a good way, where you also see kind of the tragedies, but you also see the good things and the pleasures that kind of come out of having a situation like that. I also really loved the movie because it's kind of nice to see the different famous characters and the famous actors that were in it that weren't famous at the time, where you have Johnny Depp and you have Leonardo DiCaprio, and you even see John C. Reilly in there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of interesting to see John C. Reilly not making fart jokes with Will Ferrell, because he was actually in a pretty serious role.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of interesting to see the parts where they were worried about how big his mother was getting, and kind of the fact that their entire basement might cave in, the fact that they might need to get her out of the house with a crane. Yeah. So I think that was pretty good. Well, hey guys, that is about all we're going to have to talk about for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. What is our next movie?
We're going to start with Inception from 2010.
Well, we're going to be coming right back with that movie then.
Hi, I'm Maxwell. I'm calm and cool and just looking for someone to give me some loving.
Hi, I'm Walter. I'm adventurous and I'm fun. And I'm everything that you're looking for in the perfect pet cat.
Hey, I'm Nico. I'm a young terrier mix who's a little shy around strangers, so I need someone who can commit to me.
My name's Milo. I'm an adorable one-year-old terrier that's a spunky little ball of energy.
To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
And once again, that number for the Cooley Region Humane Society is 608-781-4014. Now, our next film is Inception, a 2010 flick, an action mystery sci-fi film directed by Christopher Nolan. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Michael Caine, and Tom Hardy, among others. And it's the story that delves into the world of corporate espionage, where extractors are tasked with stealing ideas, information, and secrets from the minds of their targets through their dreams. Now, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Dom Cobb, is tasked with, or is hired by a former target of his to achieve something that's even more complicated, and that's Inception. Now, Cobb has to plant an idea in somebody's mind, not just steal one. And it's way more complex, and it's even more complicated by the fact that his own murky past, something that doesn't even let him go back home to the United States, follows his team into their dreams. Now, Cobb must overcome this past, get over his doubt, guilt, and in order to survive and complete the job and get back to his family. Now, Inception was nominated for 8 Academy Awards in 2011 and won 4 in mostly technical categories. It's visually stunning and really a groundbreaking film. So here we are with a trailer from the 2010 film Inception.
There's one thing you should know about me. I specialize in a very specific type of security. Subconscious security.
You're talking about dreams?
Mr. Cobb has a job offer he would like to discuss with you.
What kind of work placement?
Not exactly. We create the world of the dream. We bring the subject into that dream, and they fill it with their secrets.
Then you break in and steal it.
Well, it's not strictly speaking legal. It's called Inception. Already. I think I found a way home. And this last job, that's how I get there. Dreams feel real while we're in them. It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange.
This is your responsibility. We're not prepared for this.
The dream's collapsing.
I have it under control. I'd hate to see out of control.
Now, Inception was a film that I really thought was the most original of maybe any film I've ever seen, first and foremost. And it's a very creative concept, something that's kind of a signature of Christopher Nolan films. If you're familiar with Interstellar or even the Batman films, he really had a great take on those as well. And I think it's reflected in the Oscar victories that it did have in technical categories that really show how visually stunning it is and groundbreaking that way. I think Leonardo DiCaprio's role in it is actually really good, and I think it shows a nuanced character that isn't overshadowed by other main actors, big-name actors, Tom Hardy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, people who've really got an increased character or increased sort of profile since the Inception came out. And I think he also doesn't overshadow them as well, which is really good for an ensemble cast like this. What did you guys think of Inception when you first saw it?
I loved it. Honestly, one of my favorite parts about this movie is the soundtrack. I'm pretty sure it's by Howard Shore. The song in there called Time, I study it to it every single time I give my work done. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, I like the song too, but I really love this movie. It was just so mind-bending, and it just, if you're someone who's ever been interested in something like lucid dreaming, it's something that's very interesting to think about and just be like, if you are aware you're dreaming, like, what happens?
Yeah,
it's this weird. It's this weird like mystery to it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's definitely a real mind bender. Something that I think is can be confusing for audiences at times. You know, something where you have to think a lot. Some audiences just can't handle that. I know with one of Nolan's other films, Interstellar, there's just so much to consume that audiences had some problems with it. But I think it really did a good job of bringing you in while not overwhelming you.
Mm-hmm. One of those ones. My favorite part of the movie was when they go down to the basement and they see all the people that all they do in their entire lives is just sit and sleep all day because they get the drugs to sedate them. I thought that was a pretty interesting thought, just to think the possibilities of, like, what if this type of thing was real eventually, where we figured out how to just induce lucid dreaming and people could go into each other's dreams. I definitely feel like I might be one of those people that just sleeps all day and just sleeps. Especially because they were talking about how when you go into different dreams, how it takes even longer. Yeah. That's a pretty cool thought.
Yeah, I definitely thought the idea of multiple levels for a dream and the sort of the math behind it, which didn't overwhelm you. It was just such a creative, original idea that I really give props to Nolan for writing it like that, and it didn't overwhelm the cast either. You know, Leonardo DiCaprio is able to do a great role that he had to have a total command of the original idea of Inception, and I think that was just, it showed how good a lot of these actors were, especially DiCaprio.
And because I know, like, other movies that you talk about when they're kind of confusing like that and they can confuse the audience, it's like, have you guys ever seen Requiem for a Dream?
Yeah.
That's one of those ones where it's a mind bender and it's kind of confusing, you have to think about it, but I think it's a little bit a step too far where you can't really understand
Requiem for a Dream was just depressing. There were no bright parts in that movie at all.
Not really. You leave it and you're just kind of like, this is confusing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I think that this definitely visually stunning. Actors are great. A lot in the same way as What's Eating Gilbert Grape was. Everybody really did a great run of it. So that's Inception. Next, we're going to come up with The Wolf of Wall Street. But here's another look at those perfect pets.
Hi, I'm Maxwell. I'm calm and cool and just looking for someone to give me some loving.
Hi, I'm Walter. I'm adventurous and I'm fun. And I'm everything that you're looking for in the perfect pet cat.
Hey, I'm Nico. I'm a young terrier mix who's a little shy around strangers, so I need someone who can commit to me.
My name's Milo. I'm an adorable 1-year-old terrier that's a spunky little ball of energy.
To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
Once again, the number for the Cooley Region Humane Society is 608-781-4014. The next film we'll be reviewing today is The Wolf of Wall Street, which is a dramatized documentary with elements of dark humor that chronicles the life of Jordan Belfort, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, also starring Jonah Hill and Matthew McConaughey. Jordan Belfort was a Wall Street executive with a love of drugs, sex, and prostitutes. The film starts with his humble beginnings as an intern at a big firm in New York City. Shortly after this firm folds, he finds himself out of a job, down on his luck, and finds himself at a penny stock boiler room. With the skills he learned at his big firm job, he uses these skills to assemble a new team of brokers to open his own firm. What follows next is Jordan's story of his sudden rise and miraculous fall from celebrity. And here's the trailer.
My name is Jordan Belfort. The year I turned 26, I made $49 million, which really pissed me off because it was $3 shy of $1 million a week. We're making a name for ourselves.
Nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in circles. You know what a fugazi is?
No, Fugazi. It's fake.
Yeah, fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust.
Was all this legal? Absolutely not. We were making more money than we knew what to do with.
We don't work for you, man.
Yeah, my money taped to your goose. Technically, you do work for me.
What's wrong, Daddy?
But watching you bring home. Oh, my God. FBI. Any kind of booze you might want?
No, the Bureau forbids us from drinking.
Duh. So follow me, you could about to go. I'm doing 500, I'm out of control. But there's nowhere to go. And there's no way to slow. If I knew what I knew in the past, I would have been like that on your.
How does this actually work?
There's a big money sign.
They get launched at the time, they stick.
This is their gift, okay? They're built to be thrown like a lawn dart.
1, 2, 3.
Stop. Okay?
Safety first.
Safety is first. We don't want to get a bad reputation.
And I'm zoning, I think I'm possessed. It's an omen, I keep it 300. Like the Romans, 300. We're the Trojans, baby, we living in the moment. I've been in minutes, but a lot.
And welcome back. Now, The Wolf of Wall Street, I personally love this movie. It's a great movie. It shows Leonardo DiCaprio, honestly, I think at one of his strongest points in his career. He shows a full range of character and emotion, even if it may be from the slimy Wall Street exec of Jordan Belfort. It's a movie that shows a lot of excess and extravagance, which is normal of people with that much money. And I personally think this is the movie that he should have won an Oscar for. I thought it was great. What about you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if we could probably make a list of like 10 films that he probably should have gotten the Oscar for, and that was kind of the thing with him. But yeah, I thought it was he embraced the role so much, and I thought it was really good.
I agree. I like to think about how the real Jordan Belfort feels about the movie.
He was in it.
Was
he at the end he introduces Leonardo DiCaprio as himself.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
When he does like the public speaking thing, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. He got a lot of money for it, but I'm pretty sure he had to pay it back all of his people he scammed money out of.
Because he's kind of a renowned scumbag. I feel like a little bit. People like Jordan Belfort, but they know that he's kind of a questionable character.
Yeah,
so it's kind of funny to see maybe.
Well, he's been up to some pretty shady things in the years since too. So
never change, man. Never change.
Might be well deserved. What were your guys' favorite parts of the movie?
Oh man, I think. For me, it's when he has to talk to the FBI, and he invites them on his yacht, his super yacht, and they have this ridiculous conversation that just devolves into them just hilariously him telling expletive after expletive, and it encompassed everything about him in that one scene, and I really thought that was perfect.
I loved all the debauchery scenes in The Office, especially the ones with the midgets going at the targets for money. Like, who thinks of that? Who has so much money that they're like, we're gonna rent a midget?
I think that was definitely showed the excess of the entire film, and it is bad enough as it was. It's 3 hours long, which in itself is like a statement of excess. But yeah, everything that happened in that office was just beyond anything I would have expected to ever happen in an office. That I just think it summed their whole company up and the entire character of DiCaprio up.
I really
perfectly.
hope that that's actually what went down in the office,
Oh, right?
and it wasn't just a part of the movie.
If it was just totally true to things.
I think if it's an illegal operation, they're all in on it. They're probably all thinking we could do this. We could do it.
Definitely.
My favorite part was the part when he got home finally and he was like, I can't believe I made it. Then you see the car and see that he didn't make it clean. That was my favorite part, though. I really liked that one.
It caught me way off guard because the whole film, everything's going wrong. And, I mean, it's awesome and it's hilarious, but everything's going wrong. And then he comes home on drugs in a car and he doesn't crash it miraculously. I couldn't believe it. And fast forward like 5 minutes in the film or whatever, and he can't. It turned out that he didn't actually make it home. It was great.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, what kind of films did this remind you of?
Just a lot of party films, like a little bit of Project X, a little bit,
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
a little bit
definitely.
of like it's like that, only bringing all like the grimy Wall Street executives in.
It's more like a grown-up Project X,
grown-up Project
with
X.
money.
Yeah.
With money, yeah, definitely.
It kind of reminded me of a little bit more realistic of American Psycho. Have you ever seen American Psycho with Christian Bale? It kind of reminded me of that. I feel like Jordan Belfort might be a little bit more legal version of Christian Bale from American Psycho. Just not quite, a little bit less of the murder. How about you?
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was, nothing really about it rang any bells because it's so excessive. Like everything, the drug use, the women, everything, the money, which is the huge part of the whole film, was so excessive that it didn't really remind me of anything, but DiCaprio's piece, his character, was so well done that it was perfect DiCaprio. He was so invested in the role and he did it so well that it just harkens back to all his other roles that he did in the past, definitely.
I think Jonah Hill also being alongside of him, playing as Donnie, really helped out.
Yeah, and he won an award for that role, did
he did.
Best Supporting Actor?
Something like
Something
that.
along those lines.
He won something for the movie, and DiCaprio got snubbed.
And it's great that now in 2016 we can finally say Leonardo DiCaprio, Best Actor award winner, kind of paid off. I mean, The Revenant probably isn't even his best role. That's what he won it for this year. But I think it definitely paid off all that work when we talk about the Titanic, The Departed, Catch Me If You Can,
Mm-hmm.
all these films, Shutter Island, maybe not his best film, but you know, all these films he's done in the last few years, I think it really finally paid off for him. I'm happy for him.
When I was watching The Revenant, I kind of even got a hint that it really kind of seemed like it may just be he picked the role to go get the Oscar, you know? Because when he got into the horse, it's just like, that is a pretty nasty thing to have to go into a horse. And I've read a little bit about all the preparation that he did, about like the bear fight to try to make that seem realistic.
Yeah.
He really went above and beyond for that one.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's definitely perfect DiCaprio, though. I mean, he does everything that you would expect the top flight actors to do, and he isn't even like overshadowed. You know, he's in Revenant with Tom Hardy. He's in Inception with Tom Hardy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Michael Caine, who a little bit older but a renowned actor, yet he holds his weight in every film he's in and really most times carries it. Even in something like we talk about What's Eating Gilbert Grape, he's just a kid in that, but his performance was recognized even at that young age.
I think the question at this point is there a role that Leonardo DiCaprio can't play?
That is a good question.
I mean, I guess we haven't seen him in a straight-up comedy yet.
Yeah.
So I guess one frontier left to...
That's true, and I think Wolf of Wall Street's probably the closest thing you can come to a straight-up comedy, but even then, that had some serious moments in it. I mean, you even see stuff like domestic violence in it, and it's something that when the film needed to go dark, it got dark, and it was done really well. When the film, it was mostly light through the whole thing, but when it was light, it was awesome.
Right.
And everything, I just thought everything was just really impressive, and I think it speaks to DiCaprio's skills as an actor. Almost every single film that he's ever been in is just really, really well done.
See, here's my pitch for a movie for Leonardo DiCaprio to get a comedy. Will Ferrell, Leo DiCaprio.
Oh my God.
Leo plays a just gigantic nerd. Will Ferrell plays the cool guy. Kind of a reversal of
Like
roles.
the first time ever.
Yeah, I would
Oh my
watch
God.
that movie. I would watch that movie.
You mind if I steal that from you?
I'll trademark it. I'm going to go trademark that right after this show.
All right. Well, now that we've done talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, his great films, congrats again, 2016 Best Actor. Let's get to what's new in theaters right now. We have Gods of Egypt, Zoolander 2. There's probably a lot of people excited about that. My personal favorite right now in theaters, Deadpool, and How to Be Single, which unfortunately came out at the same time as Deadpool, got totally overshadowed. What can you say? Ryan Reynolds is hot and awesome.
Well, I also thought it was kind of... Did you hear about the Hail Caesar movie?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. Yep.
The same sort of thing happened where it was a big role, big things were supposed to be happening, but it came out at the same time as Deadpool.
You know what?
Took all of you
The Merc with the mouth. He's just going
Seems
to
like that's kind of like
everything.
movie suicide right now. Oh, and coming out on DVD. Yeah, new on DVD we have London Has Fallen, Zootopia, Whiskey Foxtrot Tango, a new Sacha Baron Cohen movie in the Brothers Grimsby, and the Divergent series Allegiant. I don't know. I always like a Sacha Baron Cohen movie every once in a while.
You can't go wrong.
You can't.
So now we got some new movies on DVD. Room, then we have The Danish Girl, Creed, Steve Jobs, the second round that Steve Jobs gets his own movie about his life. I hope that my life is that impressive when I die.
Absolutely.
And then the last one we have is Secret in Their Eyes. I also really looking forward to see The Danish Girl. Hopefully that comes out on Netflix pretty soon.
And down at the Rivoli, we have Star Wars Episode 7. If you haven't seen it, go see Star Wars The Force Awakens. It's awesome. Also, Spotlight got the award for Best Picture. Go see that. Room, I'm told, I haven't seen it yet, but is kind of crazy, really awesome. And if you're looking for a family film that's animated, go see The Good Dinosaur. You probably can't strike out with that.
Definitely not. I've seen some commercials and some tidbits from it. It looks very, very
Well,
cute.
You are pretty much the resident expert on animated films, so
I try to be.
You know, I will take your word for it every time.
So guys, we are starting to get to the end of our show. We each have to pick favorite Leo movies. Let's go. What do you think?
It's got to be the movie I picked today, The Wolf of Wall Street. It's just, it's everything I love about Leo.
Solid. How about you?
Inception.
Yeah. You got to pick those. I'm personally not going to pick my choice. I picked my choice to talk about because he did a great job acting. My favorite Leo movie is actually Catch Me If You Can, though. Probably because of the musical that came to lacrosse. Have you guys seen that one?
I've not.
I would say you might want to watch it. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for listening to us talk about some Leonardo DiCaprio movies. Go congratulate him about that. You have a great day. Thanks for stopping by.
Joe LaMartina at Video Graphics in Racine, Wisconsin. I only have one word